Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Emily, and this is my friend to the right of me, Ray, and we actually met on Whisper a couple of years ago, and this is the Emily and Raymond Show. Woo!
And clearly I didn't take that name.
No, well, very simple name. We decided to go along with it, right, Ray?
Yeah, nice and simple.
Indeed, and Ray is obviously short for Raymond. People call me M. I get M a lot, but yeah, I was actually named after Emily Bronte, the British author. As I have mentioned before, I am half British, so that's where my name came from. What are you named after, Raymond? Who did your mother name you after?
Actually, I'm not really sure. She told me one of her friends.
Interesting.
I think so, if I remember right.
One of her close friends? Yeah. Oh, fantastic, darling. Great. All right, well, today, and I'll continue back to my normal, because I am Canadian born, but half British, we're going to talk about stalkers. And people that just don't get the hint, no matter how many times
you tell them no.
Yes, or you just don't reply in general. So I'm going to share my story about, I mentioned it briefly last time, but I'm going to get into more detail all about my stalker from another country. And Ray has a very similar story, very similar to mine, all about his stalker, who is equally crazy or equally unique and interesting in a different way. It's a very crazy experience for both of us. We love these people, though they're close to our heart, which is why we're talking about them on the show. All right, so if you like to start, or I can start.
You can go first. Your story.
All right, feel free to interject anytime because yours is also interesting.
Don't worry.
So, as I mentioned briefly, my stalker and I, how shall I bring this up? Yes, he saw me at school in the United States way back in 2011. I sound so old when I talk like this. And anyway, it was a very strict school. The males and the females couldn't talk to each other because they wanted us to focus on our schoolwork. So lo and behold, a year later, I get a friend request on Facebook, him saying, oh yeah, we went to school together and I see that we've got like 10 mutual friends in common. So I'm like, okay, this seems harmless, you know what, why not? I don't generally accept friend requests from people I don't know, but I was very young and naive at the time, so I wasn't really thinking, right? So we have a long online, whatever you want to call it, friendship, relationship thing for 4 years. I don't even remember this guy from boarding school, right? I just remember that he added me on Facebook. He remembers me. Apparently I served him lunch in the cafeteria, and I was wearing a hairnet, real glamorous, and latex gloves. And it was love at first sight, you know. Apparently he just fell for me. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what was so special about me at the time.
Must have been the gloves.
Oh, it must have been that or the sexy hairnet and my hair done up in a bun, you know, something like that. So anyway, I have one of these memorable faces apparently, so I have been told that I look like a younger version of Nicole Kidman, but getting back to the point, we just talked back and forth. There was a time in my life where I cut him out of my life. I blocked him for 7 months on Facebook, and he begged me over email. I'm really sorry for being rude. I'm sorry for everything. Please forgive me. I finally got my act together, and I want to tell you all about it. I literally have emails, ladies and gentlemen, from my Hotmail inbox from way back in 2015. That's how long I've known this guy for, okay? And his name remains anonymous. I'm going to respect his privacy. But anyway, to kind of get into the chase, he had an ex-girlfriend. He had a girl who we met in college. And when I met this guy in person, we'll get to that later, I got along perfectly fine with his ex-girlfriend. We had no problems. She was a really nice girl, you know, we never had any problems, her and I. And unfortunately, we'll talk later on about mental illness and everything, but he had a really rough upbringing. You know, it's making me forgive the guys, maybe have kind of compassion on him because he did have a bad upbringing. Unfortunately, not everybody gets what they want. You know, we can't help the parents that we have, unfortunately. So
Yeah, that's true.
yes, exactly. So he ended up, long story short, I met him in person, September of 2016. He had just broken up with his ex-girlfriend, who he got pregnant. I'm not bad-mouthing anyone. I'm sure anyone who's been in this situation where you've felt terribly alone, maybe someone got you pregnant on purpose, maybe you're the boyfriend or husband of someone that got pregnant on purpose. I've never been in that situation, thankfully. But I found out from his friend that the reason why is because he didn't want to be alone. So, you know, I guess you could say he trapped her. You know, not purposely, but it's a fear of being alone, I guess. So she, you know, I've never been in that situation, and I feel compassion towards her. Good for her, she kept the baby. And yeah, his kid is like 3.5 now, I'm guessing, to this day. But continuing on, he led me on between September of last year all the way up until like February of this year. And I told him over the phone, I can't come down. I'm not getting enough hours at work right now. I'm being careful with my money. Maybe we can meet up some other time, or you can pay for half of my ticket. He didn't want to do that. He just said, I'm not getting enough hours at work. And when you have a kid, I understand. But then it's just not going to work out. It's understandable, right? So then I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you soon. Then I messaged him on Facebook a few days later. He ignores my message once on Facebook because he's obviously annoyed at me that he didn't get to see me in person. I went down to visit my friend in Ohio instead of visiting him in New York, right? And if my friend in Ohio is watching this, she has the same name as me. You go, girl. Shout out to my other friend named Emily in Ohio. I will be sharing this with her. She's from Massillon, Ohio. Continuing on. So, Mr. Stalker ends up, it takes him 2 months to apologize to me after ignoring me on Facebook, and then he text messages me on the phone and says, the reason why I've been ignoring you is because I found someone who makes me happy. I've known her for a few years, and I just didn't know how to tell you because you are my friend, and I hate hurting friends a lot. So I'm like, okay. I don't say anything. I'm enraged inside. I am just furious. So me being the dramatic person that I am, I call his friend, and his friend might be watching this, and thank you so much, Mr. Stalker's friend, for being there for me when we had such a terrible time. He invited me over to hang out at his place, his friend, because he felt badly about the whole situation. And his friend just basically said, yeah, I feel badly about the whole thing. I mean, what happened between you guys? And anyway, yeah, his friend just said I wouldn't get too involved right now. You know, he needs to get his act together kind of thing. So anyway, and then he says, yeah, he moved in with his new GF, and his ex-girlfriend's moved out, and that's it. So that's what I hear from his friend, right? And then he sees pictures of me on Instagram in the place in New York where he's from, right? All these pictures of me having a good time with his friend. That's what made him apologize to me. I'm pretty sure for his behavior.
Jealousy, you know.
Could be. It could have been jealousy. It could have been, right? So he says, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Please say something, anything. And I'm not going to say again what disorder this guy suffers from. I mean, you know, I'm not going to say what it is, but unfortunately, you know, he stays very attached to people, I guess, and I accepted his apology. You know what? I do forgive him to this day. I'm not mad at him. And believe it or not, I heard from him on Instagram just the other day, just a few days ago, and I showed right here, my husband. He's my husband, by the way.
Yes,
We
since
look
the
so
people
alike.
think that we're married every time we go out.
Yes, we're going to be wearing ring pops, matching ring pops real soon. But continuing on, Mr. Stalker says, but I wanted to be friends with you, and I'm so sorry. I feel so badly. I was a dirtbag, and I was wrong, and I feel remorse. I'm like, okay, I get all that. I forgive you, but I cannot be friends with you anymore. Because I say in my head, until this person has changed, we might have been friends for 4 years. I just can't be friends with you. And then I saw on Kick Messenger, he sent me all these pictures of him in the States driving around, and he says, he messaged me on Instagram, do you still hate me? Do you still hate me? And it's like, I don't hate you. That's very dramatic. I am indifferent. The opposite of love is not hate. It is simply indifference. So I don't answer. I read his messages on Instagram, and he says, I did it. I became a truck driver. Wow, so now he's a truck driver. Well, good for you. You're trying to prove yourself worthy of me once again after a beautiful 4-year friendship romance. So anyway, I think he might be watching this because he does lurk around on my social media. But I just want to let you know that I don't hate you. I have forgiven you. And yeah, so that's my story. It is a little bit more crazy than that. He did excessively call me back in April of this year when I wouldn't pick up the phone right away. And if any of the audience has ever gone through experiences like this, where they had a stalker or they had some guy or girl infatuated with them and completely madly obsessed with them, please share with us your experiences, because we're absolutely dying to know. I personally think my experience with a stalker is more interesting than Ray's. But you being my husband, you tell me what you think. You tell me about your story, because mine's still contacting me. I mean, you let the audience know. What's your update on your stalker?
Oh, mine stopped contacting me back in February. I sent her one message, and that was it. She just stopped talking to me. After, I think, 3.5 years?
Interesting. And how did you meet this lady? I mean,
on the same app I met you.
Whisper.
On Whisper.
Interesting.
She found out my name, where I worked, and everything about me telling her. That's how weird, that's how creeped out I was.
And she said she wanted to get married to you, just like my stalker. My stalker talked all about the K-1 fiance, the 90-day fiance visa in the States. The first time I met him, I'm like, okay, hold your horses here. Slow right down. Screech on the brakes, okay? I literally just met you, and I understand that we've had a friendship on the internet for 4 years and everything, but this is my first time meeting you face to face, flesh to flesh. And then he looks at me when I'm at the bus stop back in September of 2016. Sorry to interrupt your story.
Oh, that's fine.
I feel so selfish here.
Okay.
I know, he's so sweet and considerate. That's why we're married. And then he says to me, oh, you're single now. Maybe we should go and get together and do something. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, we can do something. When you're broken up with your ex-girlfriend, you're completely over her. I got no problems with that. I got no qualms. We can go buddy, do something. Continuing on with yours.
Well, I mean, you totally threw me off there.
Sorry about that.
As I was saying, and the messed up part about that is every single site I've been on, every single site that I've been on, I kept matching with her. Like different
dating sites.
Oh
my
or
goodness.
meeting people sites. I'd always match with her and she'd be all happy and send me messages. Oh my goodness, it's way too creepy.
Oh Lord, just terrible.
Okay, and it's just in. We have Eddie the Magician will be calling in 5 minutes.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear from you.
Sounds like a pretty cool guy.
Indeed. Can't wait. I'm ecstatic.
So
continuing on, so go ahead. Yours said that she wanted you to move in with you. Mine wanted me to move in with me right away. And I forgot to mention, when he messaged me on Facebook, he messaged me 3 days before my birthday. And for those of you who don't know me, I share the birthday with Walt Disney. My birthday is on the 5th of December. When I scroll back to my messages on Facebook, way back to 2012, when he started messaging, he messaged me on December 2nd, 2012. I'm like, how creepy is that? This guy messages me 3 days before my birthday. We haven't even met in person. And at first I just thought it was a weird coincidence when he started talking to me and we started Skyping, because back in 2012, Facebook Messenger didn't have the whole video chat thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, good Lord. And I think to myself, this is insane. And the funny thing about the boarding school thing was I was supposed to leave the boarding school after my 1 year was up. In July of 2011, I didn't. I stayed 3 months extra. And the month that I was supposed to leave boarding school was the month that when my stalker entered the boarding school, July of 2011. And he left the same time that I left. It's so funny. He only lasted, what? July, August, September, October. 4 months at the boarding school. I lasted 14 months at the boarding school. And then he left in October 2011 at the same time. And to think that if I left in July of 2011, we never would have met each other. He never would have known I existed, and I wouldn't be sharing this story to this day. So I just think that's really interesting about timing and coincidences and, just,
you never know.
They're continuing on with your story.
Yeah, back to what you're saying about moving with her. Yeah, she had this strange thing where she wanted us to move in together, which was okay, that's whatever. But then she wanted us to sleep in separate rooms, separate beds.
Oh my goodness.
Like no physical acts of touching, like nothing.
Wow.
Like what kind of? So you want like a roommate, like pretty much like a housemate or something.
A roommate, basically.
But she wants to be married.
Well then.
I'm like, you can't be married to a person and sleep in 2 separate rooms.
Boy, that's a rough one. That is tough.
And she used to forget things a lot too. So.
Heaven's sakes, mine didn't have the greatest memory either. But at least he said, when I marry her and things work out really well, we'll move in together to nice, beautiful houses, and she'll get her American citizenship. So yeah. All right, we can't wait to hear From Eddie the Magician. This is going to be awesome, man. Can't wait to hear from you. We're ecstatic and we are thrilled.
Hello? Yes, hi. I can't hear. Talk a little bit more. Yes, hi. Can you hear me now? No, you can't really hear you. Okay, hit the speaker again. Okay, we're good now? No, still can't really hear him. And then you try the speaker. Okay, let's try that now.
Hello?
There we go. Okay. Hello, Eddie. How are you doing?
Hey, Eddie, what's up? How's it going?
Nice to hear you guys. I can barely hear you guys, but I can catch you guys.
Awesome, great. You have any stalker stories you'd like to share with us today?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you have any stalker stories about creepy people that just don't get the hint that you'd like to share with us today?
Like any moments that you've been like creeped out or
Or stalked by anybody?
Well, I'll be honest, I think I've been freaking everybody out myself.
Oh my, for Halloween, how interesting. Halloween coming up, all the better. Great.
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of events and family shows, corporate events, things like that, and I've been incorporating a lot of Halloween tricks and mixing the tricks with Halloween there. And kind of scaring people with like spider tricks and things levitating and things like that. Things, cards appearing in people's pockets, and it's a good time right now.
Wow, good for you. That's awesome, Eddie. Welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's what I love doing. I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I'm only getting better at it and getting better at spooking people when it's time to be.
Huh.
So it's kind of funny how, Halloween, near Halloween, it's either trick or treat. I'm doing the tricks.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, good for you. Awesome. Trick or treat. That's all I have to say. Stalker. Talker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, any other experiences that you like to share about Halloween and ghosting people? I mean, I know ghosting is a common phenomenon in the 21st century. Has anyone ever ghosted you, or have you ever ghosted anybody with Halloween coming up?
At this point, I kind of feel like I've been the main giver when it comes to doing the tricks and ghosting people, but
Yeah.
I think I'll probably get ghosted when I go trick-or-treating and take my little ones out.
Oh, good for you. Okay, well.
So did you
I know
want
there's local Halloween places there, the haunted houses and all that.
Huh.
to question?
I look forward to going to those things.
Oh, nice. Wow. I've been doing some ghosting activity myself. I recently just ghosted my stalker who I talked about after I saw pictures of him on social media with his new girlfriend. So,
That's really cool.
yeah, I did.
But
Yeah.
what I was gonna ask, do you do any magic shows?
Absolutely. I do magic shows all the time.
What kind of magic do you do? Do you do like the cards or the cutting in the board, the saw against the board, human being in the board kind of thing?
More like mind reading than a little mix of actual on stage miracles happening. For example, I have like items levitating, even up to like tables levitating. There'll be some more like objects appearing where they weren't there, everybody's not there, then it appears. So it's a lot of I guess misdirection. Mixed with magic and illusions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, tell us about yourself. I mean, have you appeared at any nightclubs recently, done any shows recently? I mean, tell us more about yourself. We want specifics. That'd be great.
So I do a lot of nightclubs. I do clubs like One and Once. It's like a supper club. Then I
Nice.
get hired at Set on King. I'll get hired for, I'm all over the nightclub industry. I'll get hired at Union. So, but the main thing, I'm also doing restaurants 5 days a week too, for magic.
Huh.
So if you guys look to find me at any restaurant near you, like Boston Pizza or Montana, you guys can actually just follow me on my social media and you guys can see where I'm at.
Oh, that's good
Nice.
to know. Well,
Awesome.
definitely look into that.
Yeah, you have like a Facebook
So my
page.
social media, you guys just gotta type in VanLucian.com, you guys can find me there.
Cool. Nice. Okay. So like you have a Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, I got it.
Okay. Well, we'd love to invite you.
In for an interview.
Yeah, for an interview. We'd love to have you interviewed for sure. Yeah.
Maybe like a magic show or something.
Halloween trick.
Yeah, that'd be
that'd
awesome.
be nice.
I'd love to see like hypnotizing, hypnotics or something. I'd love to see that in real life. I've never seen it in real life.
Would you be available next Thursday for an interview?
Yeah.
If you have time?
Next Thursday, I have a meeting at 4, so anything before that or after?
After. We're here at
afterwards.
5:30 on Thursday.
Yeah, 5:30 to 6:30. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can work something up there, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, sounds great. Awesome. Well, we look forward to having you on our show and interviewing you. It'd be great.
Absolutely, it's amazing.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for your time and energy. Thank you so much for collaborating with us.
Once again, thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week.
Okay.
See
You
you
too.
later.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so continuing on, as you were saying, all about stalker stories here. I've had a couple of people that were creepy as well that have been texting me that I haven't met in person as well.
Oh, yeah,
And
you're photographers.
Yeah, one photographer. I hadn't met him in person. It was a big red flag. And models that are in the industry, I'm sure many of you can relate to this story. You know what I'm talking about. You know, red flags of photographers when they say, oh, would you like a drink? What kind of wine do you drink? Do you smoke? Those are red flags that you generally look out for. Unless you worked with the guy before, or you got a referral, or you know this person from high school or something, chances are those are weird questions that you want to stay away from, especially someone that you've never met in person. I've had photographers ask me, what intersection do you live at? All these creepy things, and you really got to be streetwise, especially when you're female and you're a model, as I'm sure many models can relate. And the guy wouldn't get the hint, so I blocked him off my phone, and I actually warned other people about him. And I posted, just about social media, warning people about him, because people do that with modeling. They have modeling groups and stuff.
Isn't that same guy who offered you that $40 phone card the other day?
No, that's somebody else that apparently saw me on background. Haven't met the guy, don't know anything about him. Keeps inviting me out to these events, TED Talks in Toronto. I have no idea anything about the guy. And I'm like, okay, dude. Well, we can meet in person. Maybe I'll give you a chance. You know, I'm a friendly person. But when you keep texting me, and I haven't even spoken to you on the phone yet, it really does get excessive and overboard. And I'm like wondering, what is this that's so special about me? So, yeah. Yeah, you've had instances with random people calling you. You've had excessive calls lately from different places.
Okay, and we have
Becky Hayward. That's going to be coming up on the phone real soon. We're going to see real soon, so can't wait to see her. Yeah.
Oh, talking. Okay, talking.
Yeah, talking. Awesome. Okay, well, nice to meet you, Becky Hayward.
Okay. So
All right, so continuing on, so basically, they just don't get it. Like, I don't text message people constantly over and over and over again. If someone's not going to reply to my text messages or ignore me on Facebook, then okay, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're in a bad mood. I'm not going to keep bugging people. Maybe once a month, but you know what?
Remember yesterday with that 2-hour call from Australia?
Oh, heaven's sakes alive, that. I nearly screamed at my husband here to the right of me. I was like, I am putting a timer on my phone for 5 minutes. And if you don't get off the phone real soon, I'm going to take your iPhone and throw it out the window because I'm furious with how long this phone call is taking. We were editing for YouTube.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we got really, really frustrated because somebody would not put their foot down and not hang up on the Australian bloke that was phoning you.
Well, I know, I was trying to do business, and then he
Oh,
got
I
crazy.
know he did.
understand.
Well, I'm also interested in that whole traveling thing that you want to do and everything, but I would not spend an hour with the guy on the phone. I spent 40 minutes. I'll go back to my normal voice here. 40 minutes with that creepy photographer on the phone while I'm trying to work out at the gym. On a Sunday night, I'm working out at the gym, this guy's yakking on the phone, and I'm generally polite, and he's like, oh yeah, one time this model, are you a 70s girl? And I'm like, what do you mean 70s girl? And he's like, do you not shave for photo shoots? And I'm like appalled right now. This guy literally has no manners, okay? Here you are, talking to a model on the phone who you haven't even met in person yet, and you're already saying, yeah, are you a 70s girl? Do you drink? Do you smoke? Like I said before, sir, I don't drink and I don't smoke. It is very unprofessional to be doing that on photo shoots. He's like, oh, no worries. I'm just making sure, because I've had other models on the phone who have done that, and they've been smoking and drinking, and they have take pictures of their kids and post it on their Instagram. And I'm like, that's interesting. You're not mentioning the models, but it's a big red flag that you're already trash-talking models when I haven't even met you in person yet. There's another red flag, ladies. And again, it might sound like I'm being hypocritical and like I'm trash-talking this photographer, but this is what happened to me. And it's too bad I didn't have a recording of this phone call because it's dangerous. There's lots of creepy people out there. You really have to have your guard up and not be naive and really be streetwise about all this. So bring somebody with you if you're going to risk it. And then he keeps calling me at work, and I'm like, I'm at work right now? I kind of don't get home until like 10 o'clock at night, and I had like a 10-minute break to eat my lunch. I really don't have the time to talk right now. And he texts me, okay, cheers. Call me when you can. We need to meet. Call me when you can. Let's meet for coffee. Oh, and I can get you some work at a restaurant. You'll get paid $60 an hour on an adult restaurant. I'm like,
$60 an hour.
Okay.
What do you have to wear?
What are you
Rabbit costume or
smoking,
something?
man? What are you smoking, man? I blocked his number, like I said, and he found me off Instagram. That was so creepy. And by the way, we have an Instagram for our show.
Yeah, it's called.
We have Twitter.
Yep, our Twitter and Instagram, we have Ray and M.
Ray and M. And my personal Instagram is at symbol Emily, EMILY, C for Carrie, official. Official. Yes, I got it on my business card. So anyway, that's my story about creepy photographers. And yeah, I've had other people, one more creepy photographer story where a friend of mine from high school saw some pictures I posted. This was 3 years ago. She says, I worked with that photographer. He has charges against him from the police. And I said, are you sure? And I was in college. I was really young. I didn't think anything of it because he didn't really do anything to me, thankfully. But apparently he had a really bad experience with him. And I never worked with him again after that. Last time I worked with him, I brought a friend of mine with him. And then the guy messaged me and I'm like, nope, we're not doing anything. Sorry, I'm like thinking in my head, I'm not going to answer his messages on Model Mayhem. There's no way I'm doing that. There's just too many creeps out there. So anyway, Ray, go ahead with your story. I'm sure you have lots of other stalker stories, or what about, certain people that you like to share stories about?
Well, actually, I was walking down the street from work the other day, and this random girl comes up to me. Says I'm cute and stuff. I'm like, okay. No one really says that randomly.
You did tell them that you're married, that you have a wife,
Yes,
who's sitting
yes.
on the left of you right now.
Yes.
Good.
And that's my backup story. You're always my backup.
I know.
People approach me really weird. I just say I have a wife. She'll beat you.
Oh, good. The missus is calling. The
Exactly.
missus is calling. Like you said to your friends. That's
Yeah,
what
so
you
she's like,
did.
oh, you work in the hotel? That's awesome. Let's go to the hotel. We can have a room. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I don't. That's not how it works. We don't get free rooms like that. First of all.
Boy.
Secondly, I don't know you. And third, you're a little bit too obsessive. She kept following me around, trying to touch me. and
Another
stuff, and I'm like,
stalker. So terrible. You must have nightmares about this, Ray. Just appalling.
yeah, and I was like, geez, what's going on? And now you know where I work. If you show up at my workplace, I'm gonna have to make arrangements to make sure you don't step into the workplace.
Shocking beyond. You have to get a restraining order.
Yeah,
Was she cute?
She was sort of cute,
She
but
was
it's
sorta
not really
cute?
my thing.
Not really your type, huh? I know. Well, you're already taken anyway,
Yes,
so you don't have to
exactly.
worry about it. But what about that whole thing, with all these people that have been calling you, Ray? What about those excessive phone calls? that you're
There's
getting
really
randomly?
random numbers. One number calls me about maybe 35 times a day, thinking I'm some girl named Jenny.
Oh,
And
dear!
I'm like, buddy, my name is not Jenny. I am Ray or Raymond. I'm a man. It's like, oh, but you sound like a girl. I'm like, what?
I'd be insulted. How dare you speak to me? Look what I am, and look where you are.
But
That's
the
what I
worst
would've
part
said.
is, this number, no matter, I've changed my number 3 times in the last couple of years. This same number has called me on all 3 of my phones, thinking I'm this girl named Jenny. That's the messed up part.
Good
So either I'm
Lord.
getting trolled, or this guy is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or something.
What are you smoking? Is he smoking something?
I don't know,
What's he
but
smoking?
apparently I'm some girl named Jenny who's 19 and works at Canadian Tire.
What?
I'm like, okay, so one time I had some coworkers prank him. I let them
Oh,
answer the
God.
phone, and they got this guy to come to the hotel. Turns out he was some really crazy haired big guy. I don't know, maybe 200-300
Oh, good
pounds.
Lord, like a
More-
security guy, one of those bodyguards you see at a nightclub, like a bouncer.
No, more like a fat Elvis. I don't
Interesting.
discriminate, but yeah,
Okay.
I was like,
Interesting.
okay, so he looked like he was in his 30s too, so he's preying on young girls.
Oh, Lord, oh, goodness.
But anyway, so he thought I was a girl named Jenny. So I finally met this guy in person. I'm like, this is me. I am not Jenny. And so he stopped the calls for maybe a couple months, and again he started again, thinking I'm Jenny. So I think I don't know. They say I'm crazy, but no, this guy I think was a little bit nuts.
Oh, good Lord. Speaking of random phone calls, Mr. Husband here to the right of me, I had a phone call just the other day from Austria. I was sleeping in bed and I had just gotten off the phone with a business and everything in another country, and then I get a phone call from Austria, a random number. Switch back to my normal voice. Random number, randomly from Europe, Austria, and I don't pick up. And I've gotten phone calls, I think, from Venezuela. I think Africa. I can't remember all these.
Africa will
weird
always
numbers.
call you.
Or India or something. I can't remember. And I'm like, how did you get my number? I don't have business cards where I give out my number and stuff to people, but that's in Toronto only. That's in Canada only. Maybe a couple people in the States. And I would think nobody from the States is going to be prank calling unless, of course, it's my stalker rewiring everything and pretending that he's calling from another country, because you can do that on the internet with Google Call. What's it called? Google Call?
I think.
Gmail, whatever it's called. Google Call. He used to call me that. When my stalker and I first met, he used to call me. He didn't want to call long distance to Canada from the States, so he called me with Google Call, G-Call, Gmail Call, whatever it's called.
Speaking of long distance, I wonder if that call from Austria is going to be long. I mean, Australia is going to be long distance.
Oh, heavens.
The guy said he's calling from Australia, but the phone number said Vancouver.
What? I think you said he was calling from Vancouver.
That's what I said. He's in Australia. You can tell his accent,
yeah, his thick
the
accent.
background, everything.
Yeah,
it's not Canada.
Weird.
So like I look at my phone, my phone when I go home. So like after I left you, I got home. I see 72 minutes for long distance. Like and the thing is that they have a rule in Australia where if you call another country, the caller has to pay all the fees.
Goodness me. Oh, that's terrible. That's really awful. I hope you don't get screwed over again then. And then I was silly yesterday. I thought I lost my Metro Pass, which this happens to me a million times a month. Anybody that knows me, who's close friends with me, will know. I dig through my purse. I dig through the bottom of my purse. Can't find my Metro Pass. I say to Ray, I text him, Ray, hubby, it looks like I lost my Metro Pass and I wasted $150 and I'm going to have to go and buy another one. Sobs. And then he says to me, calm down. Don't worry. Over the phone, I'm sure everything's going to be fine. And you say to me, I'm like, I spent $3.25 just to get to the subway. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I come back. And he's like, my hubby here is my lucky charm. And I find it right buried at the bottom of my bag, which isn't even a very big purse, by the way. And he took a video of me, and I say, Emily, slap. Slap for being so ridiculous and freaking out over small things and panicking over absolutely nothing. And now you just shot yourself in the foot and wasted $3.25. Great job, Emily. Oh, you took a video of that, which you still have to send me, don't forget. Mr.
Okay,
Husband.
so we're almost reaching the end of our show. We're about close to the 10-minute mark. So our next show, what were we going to talk about?
Well, we are going to talk about...
Eddie will be coming in on
our next show.
Interviewing a possible magic.
Yes, on a possible magic. And we are going to talk about bad work experiences on our next show.
Yeah, bad work experiences.
I have various experiences. Smile and dial. That's one of my many various work experiences. We're going to share a story all about suffering in the work world and what you have to go through just to make a buck.
Yep.
That's what we're going to be doing. So thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the views and the support. Thank you so much.
Okay, and this is our show, the Raymond and the Emily and Raymond show.
The Raymond and Emily show. I'm Emily, and this is my husband Raymond, and we are the married couple. And next week I'm going to come in with my glasses that look just like his.
Okay.
You will see that we are married. Actually, we didn't mention a guy on the other street was handing out flyers, and he said, okay, you and your wife have a good day. Well, we didn't take the flyers from him, and that's where we joke that we are now husband and wife.
So for the next show, if you want to call in
regarding your bad work experiences, please feel free to share. I mean, come on board, come on into the ship, ahoy, ahoy. Come on the pirate ship and join us.
Hey, here, give me the number.
Yeah, so you can call us.
Turn it? Turn off?
So yeah, thank you so much, and that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm sure lots of you have places you've been fired for no reason. There might have been insects where you were. I've got horror stories myself, which I'm sure you'd love to hear and that you can relate to. So that will be our next show. Tune in next Thursday at 5:30 p.m., 5:30 to 6:30. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. It was a pleasure being such a great audience.